This is Sparta. No way, it's just Assassin's Creed Odyssey, sorry. But this is gameplay from E3. In fact, I went hands-on with the game yesterday and I got to roam around ancient Greece, Spartan kicking everything and everyone that I saw. I even attempted to fight a bear at the end of the demo, like a really big bear. But as you can see, it didn't turn out all that great for me. Mr. Pooh Bear, I only ever wanted to be friends and you just betrayed me, cast me aside for Christopher Robin, of all people. Disgraceful. I saw some sharks too. Yeah, and some dolphins. Although I am sorely disappointed because I asked the developer next to me who was giving me tips, "Mate, can I ride a dolphin?" And he told me no, you cannot ride the dolphin, Jack. So what's even the point of existing then? Anyways, this game is pretty much 300 Simulator. You do carry around the Spear of Leonidas after all. And as I mentioned, the next outing of Assassin's Creed is taking us to ancient Greece. And it was recently leaked, the setting, before E3 though, thanks to a keychain of all things. But this time, we're heading to the Peloponnesian War around 431 BC in ancient Greece. The game will be set around the backdrop of the Sparta and Athens conflict, and will take you to places like Mykonos, Attica and Delos. Supposedly the player will remain a neutral party though during the conflict. And the game is being made by Ubisoft Quebec, who previously worked on Assassin's Creed Syndicate. This time around though, you'll be able to choose if you want to play as a male or a female character, but that's not going to impact the story itself, bar from a few minor changes. Your route throughout the game will play out the same, regardless of your choice of gender. The only differences, of course, being your player character model and voice actor. In Syndicate, you could change between the two main characters, siblings Evie and Jacob Fry, and because they have different abilities, there were times where each one would be particularly useful. Odyssey will not work like that though. You can pick your gender and that's who you play with for the entire course of the game, and you can choose from either Alexios or Cassandra, who happen to be two descendants of the Spartan king Leonidas, and that's why you have his spear. Now, when Assassin's Creed Origins released last year, it reworked a lot of things, including the combat experience, as well as introducing a new equipment system to the franchise. Origins was a bit of a revamp, and Odyssey seems to expand on what Origins introduced and improved upon it, rather than trying to reinvent the wheel. Apparently they've been working on Odyssey for 3 years now. And for the most part, I think that Assassin's Creed Origins was reviewed quite well and received well by the fans, so it just kind of makes sense to build upon that. I have to admit though, I didn't think that we'd see a new Assassin's Creed game this year, so soon after Origins, but I suppose that it is one of Ubisoft's biggest key franchises now. And this game will expand on certain RPG elements, most notably the dialogue options, and this is something new for the franchise. This time around, players will be given an active role in conversations that can change the course of the campaign. During the game, you'll be presented with options when speaking to characters, and your choices will alter the story, from making or rejecting alliances all the way to potential romances. For example, you can choose a military path to a certain situation, or perhaps your style would be more suited to a more measured and philosophical approach. Certainly something a bit different from former Assassin's Creed games. It's a bit more Mass Effect-y, and it only adds to the experience of how you play the game and ensures that each player will have a slightly different experience of their playthrough. One thing is clear though, there isn't a good guy and bad guy approach here, and one of the senior producers on the game, called Mark Alexis, said this: "That doesn't mean that there's an explicit black and white morality system as is typical in BioWare games. At one point we were telling people your choice had a big impact, but I feel like when we give players too much information, it destroys their immersion," he explains. They now try to look for the algorithms that will make them achieve a certain end, and we've worked very hard to make the choices feel more grey. I kind of like that approach, I think, and he went on to say that he wants players to enjoy the game and pick options that they feel are right, rather than try to pick options based on what path or ending that they want to get, because that sometimes feels quite forced. Now, if you loved Assassin's Creed Black Flag and the naval battles, well, they're making a big splash in Odyssey and will play a big role in the game. I did some sea warfaring, as you can see here. One mission I had, I was supposed to take out these ships with blue flags, and for whatever reason I thought it would be a good idea to just swim up to one and try and kill everyone. Didn't turn out great, so instead I had to go and get my ship. You've got left and right volleys of arrows and even fire javelins, and if you want to, you can ram your ship directly into the enemy ship to just split it in half. If the enemy ship is weak enough, you can board it too by pulling up alongside it. And when you're on there, you'll be able to fight people in melee combat, and also Spartan kick them off boats, because why the hell not? There's going to be ship customization too, so you'll be able to change the appearance as well as recruit allies into your ship, and they will give you perks and abilities. And kind of in relation to this, you'll be able to dive underwater and discover hidden ruins and even battle sharks. And the devs told me that the water combat is not something that they've just tacked on in this game, and it's a big part of the experience with deep combat tactics. They say that they've taken what was introduced in Black Flag and expanded on it greatly. Now, you're a Spartan, you're a descendant of Leonidas, you're pretty good at fighting people. And in this game, the combat abilities are based around the same system in Origin, with 3 separate skill trees to choose from based on your style of play. This time around, they're separated into Hunter, Warrior and Assassin. Hunter has more ranged abilities, Warrior is based around physical combat, and then Assassin for stealth. Now, there's a lot of skills to choose from here, including passive abilities and additional special skills that can be bound to the face buttons. So once you've been attacking someone for a while, you build up the little yellow meter at the bottom, and then you can use one of these new abilities by holding LB and then one of the 4 main buttons. And they include things like a shield smash, an ability where you take their shield and literally throw it away so you can attack them, a quick health boost if you want, and of course the classic Spartan kick. I took it upon myself to use this as many times as possible, and it just didn't seem to get old. You can even do the running sword jabs that we saw in the movie 300. And if you're feeling a bit fruity, you can throw the spear. The combat system felt very similar to what they were using in Origins, and at one point I took part in this massive battle on the beach. And as you can see, there are just hundreds of soldiers on the screen here, and you've got to take more of them out than they kill you. And you can increase that by taking out the enemy heroes and commanders like this big dude here. And I've never really done anything like this in a Assassin's Creed game before, so that was something new and interesting. It was quite satisfying, I have to admit, to just keep kicking people around everywhere and using my Spartan abilities. But I did notice a bit of frame drop in this area. Of course, it is work in progress, so I'd love to see that improve before the launch. Odyssey is shaping up to be something a bit different from previous Assassin's Creed games, Origin withstanding. When Origin released, you could say it sort of hit a reset on the franchise, which was definitely needed, and now Odyssey is enhancing a lot of the RPG elements that have slowly been added into the game. It definitely feels like the game is heading in a different direction to the older titles now. If it didn't have an Assassin's Creed title, you wouldn't think that it was an Assassin's Creed game in my opinion. But I think that it's good that they're going in a new direction and trying something new, expanding the franchise and changing things up a bit, keeping it fresh. And in relation to that, one of the developers called Alexis Cote did say recently that I feel that the franchise can grow, and for me, it's grown to be something that's not about the HUD. It's not about the blade. For us, the most important part of Assassin's Creed now is that you visit a pivotal moment in our history, and that's what we are allowing you to do. It did feel a bit too similar to Origins in a couple of places though, and also there were some frame rate issues, and I thought that the lip syncing was pretty bad in the cutscenes. But you know, they've still got a fair few months to go before the game is released on October the 5th, so I've got faith that this could turn out pretty decent. We never really got a good game for 300 the movie or the graphic novel, so maybe this could be it. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, guys. What are you thinking of the new Assassin's Creed Odyssey? A big thanks to Ubisoft for sponsoring this video. If you enjoyed the video, give me a like. If you didn't, a dislike. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.